Welcome everyone. In this video we will be talking about what we call AWS IAM password policy. Okay, so when you create your AWS account and you begin to add users, groups, you add in policy permissions, and there is something very important you need to consider, and this is your first line of defense. Okay, because before you get authorized within your AWS, you need to first to be authenticated. Okay, so setting up password policy is very important. That will allow you to set a good defensive, a complexive line of defense within your AWS, because this is where you first get authenticated and gain allowed access into your AWS environment. So setting up the benchmark or the baseline for a stronger or a strong password policy is crucial in ensuring that you are compliant and be able to mitigate a risk of you having a breach in your AWS environment. So in this lesson, we will do the theory side of things, and I will show you how to set up your password policy within your AWS environment. Okay, so again, like I said, this is very important in order to reduce the risk of your attack. Most of these attackers are leveraging on a password, weak password. If you have a weaker password, it's not good for your organizational need. But guess what? AWS have a baseline of setting up a password policy for you going forward, but you need to ensure that this fits your organizational need. Again, for compliance requirement, certain complexities, or you'll be required to, let's say, rotate your password within 90 days or 30 days or 60 days based on your organizational need. To that end, you need to set what we call a custom policy. Okay, so out of the box, as I said earlier, AWS will provide you a baseline of policy settings that you give you something, in a way it's a secure way, but it's not suit for your organizational need. Okay, to that end, you have a length requirement which AWS will set to minimum of 8. Okay, the character complexities, okay, again AWS have a baseline of setting the character complexities. Okay, by default this password policy allow not to expire. Okay, again that is not good on your cloud security environment. You need to ensure that you have some expiration date set to it. However, if this fits your organizational need, again you set it that way. Okay, there are also basic restriction. The account name that you use to create your AWS environment, your email address cannot be used as part of your password. Okay, so we're moving forward. Remember, when you're trying to setting up your custom password, you can adjust the length, the complexity, and the reusability of your password. Okay, and then from here I'm going to log into my AWS console, show you where to set these things up, and then you can go forward and set up and support your organization to be resilient in the security wise, have a complex defensive line in your AWS environment, and be able to be compliant within your organization. Okay, so let me log into my account, and then I'm going to show you where to set this up. Okay, so logging in, you normally first get authenticated. By that, the entity will have their password evaluated, their username evaluated. Once AWS know that they are who they are, okay, they are allowed into the environment, which I am logged in now. So I got authenticated, and I'm authorized to have access to certain resources. What I'm gonna say is you getting authenticated is through your password and then your username. Okay, so when you land here, you are looking for something what we call identity and access management. Again, there's a whole video that I have done. If you want to watch that video, you will be able to understand what we call IAM. So basically it's the way we get authenticated and get authorized. By that I mean, who are you and what can you do within this AWS account, and this is where we control it through IAM, identity and access management. Okay, so here we can set our defensive line, so any attackers will have difficulty in breaching into our environment. So the complex your password policy, the better, and then the difficult the attacker might have it. But if you have a weak password, it's easy to break into it. Okay, so to that end, you need to set what we call custom policy and ensure that your users or your entity within your AWS environment are adhering to this policy when you set it up. So let's go into IAM. Once you in here, okay, let me quickly explain this, but not go into this. This is what we call IAM resources, or the component of the IAM. Again, there's a separate video whereby I've touched on every single one of them. Okay, so keep watching my video, like them, and comment on it for such kind of videos, and I'm happy to keep pushing out video for it to help us learn from each other. Thank you very much. So let's move on again. If you want to set up your password policy, you need to do that on the account setting level. So let me go into the account setting level. Okay, once you are in here, you can read on here. It tells you the password policy. Okay, this allows you to set some requirements for your IAM entities. By that, whoever get authenticated into your environment. If you want to read more about it, you click on the information. It will direct you to the site where you can read more about the password policy and then account settings. Okay, so by default, if you don't do anything, if you don't set up any custom policies, okay, you will have what we call the default. Okay, 8 characters, and you have the strength of your password being, you have a lowercase, uppercase, number, alphanumeric characters. Okay, and then the expiration of your password is set to never to expire. Okay, and again, you cannot use your account name or the email address that you use to create your password. Right, so this is what you get out of the box. In order to customize this, okay, you go into your edit and then you select custom. Okay, so you are going to customize it. So this gives you the permission to be able to adjust the length of your password. Okay, you have between 6 and 128, which is quite, a good range. Again, you can set the strength of your password by selecting any of this based on your use case. Okay, further to that, you have other requirements. You can turn on the password expiration date. Imagine if you turn it on like that, you can set the minimum days, let's say it's 90 days, 60 days, 120, again based on the organizational requirement. Okay, again, you can set it the password expiration required. If you want the administrator to reset the password, you check that one out. If you want the users to reset their own password, you can check this box. Okay, and again, you can prevent the reusability of your password by checking this box on that. Okay, so in a nutshell, this is it. I'm not going to save these changes. Okay, I will cancel it, but I hope you understand it and you can go forth and set a password requirement within your organization, okay, in order to mitigate any attack risk and also be compliant within your organization. So let me cancel this. Okay, and again, this is the end of the lesson. This is the end of the video. If you want more of this such videos, please comment, okay, like this video and share it. And what I would say is happy learning. Keep learning. Little drops of water makes a mighty ocean. So watch out for more such videos and enjoy your learning. Thank you.